Hmm. Hi.
Hello. We
Hi,
are live.
everyone. Welcome to 2019.
Happy New Year.
Happy, yeah. The other way to say it would be Happy New Year.
That's right. We started a little bit early.
Yeah,
that's okay.
We jumped on board a minute early, but
People will kick
eager.
I know. Eager, but also heavy.
Yeah.
And tired.
And honestly, it sort of felt like work to get started today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it hasn't yet.
No.
But we showed up.
We did. We're here for all of you.
Yeah, we are.
So let's just take one nice deep breath together. I'm going to close our eyes. I'm going to take a nice deep inhale. Hold it. And then a nice beautiful exhale. Just letting out all of the stress and tension. And just bringing all of your awareness here to this conversation, to this moment right now.
That breath felt good.
Right?
I needed that tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So how are you doing?
The like automatic programmed answer is to say, I'm good. How are you? I'm good. Nothing bad. I just I feel heavy. I feel sort of weighted down and foggy. I felt really foggy since about the end of December.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't really seem to get out of that funk. I'm aware that I'm in it. And so I'm just trying to honor the way that I'm feeling and sort of ride it out. I've just been craving a lot of rest and a lot of solitude.
Right.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
Well, today in particular is a pretty heavy day for me emotionally. And I feel as though the last few days have been very emotionally draining. I've been doing a lot of crying. And these tears are, there are things going on in my life that would bring up these tears. But hi, Judy. Love you. But it just feels more so than normal. Like I feel like I'm clearing something, that I'm making room for something. It feels like there's just this heaviness that wants to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I feel very dense in my body. My brain does feel a bit foggy.
Yeah.
Very unsure, very unclear.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why our theme when we got together today was going to be discussing insecurity versus intuition.
Yeah.
Because how do we make those decisions when we feel this way?
Yeah, and it's hard to sort of trust that you're making the right judgment call, the right decision when you're feeling heavy and in a fog and a little bit unsure. And
when you're not feeling yourself.
Yeah, when you're not feeling yourself. Yeah. And there are many, many people feeling this way right now. Absolutely. If you're feeling this way, you're certainly not alone. A lot of people I've spoken to. Oh, that was quick to jump out.
There's two.
Of course.
And we'll get to them at the end.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Put them aside. But yeah, there are a lot of people that are going through this right now. There's a lot of confusion, uncertainty, and we just wanted to show up, even though both Sarah and I could have easily canceled today. We didn't.
We showed up.
Yeah. So even if I'm not my typical, very inspirational, high energy being, that doesn't take away from the fact that I'm still a human processing my own human emotions. Like that's the reality. Right. And January and February for me are very shadowy months. There's something about them that brings up a lot of deep stuff. It's like I go into this hibernation of sorts.
I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
So those months are very hibernating from. That's always what I say to my friends, like, peace out, see you in a couple months, I'm going into hibernation now.
It's like a deep clean.
Yeah, I think I miss the sunlight, and I'm affected by those things too, as a lot of people are. But exactly, it's sort of like a deep cleansing and a purging, and preparation for the spring, which I sort of feel is like a bit of a rebirth for me.
Absolutely. Like once the spring hits, I don't know where all of this energy comes from. All of this love, and I still have love inside of me right now, but it feels a bit
different,
heavy right now. Yeah, it does. And I might even cry tonight. Who knows? I'm going to try not
to.
That's
okay. You're in a safe space.
Yeah. I had to make a very tough decision. So there's just, lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Human stuff.
Lots of human stuff going on. And Yeah, sometimes it makes you want to hibernate under a blanket in your bed.
Or not even like go out or talk to anybody or see anybody. And it's okay if that's how you feel. And
I think it's important to honor your feelings, right?
That's right.
And if you're craving that rest and solitude, give yourself that.
Without feeling guilty.
That's the tricky part. And he and I were talking about this the other day. I was really, I took some vacation over the holidays, and all I really wanted to do was rest and have some solitude. And I was then started to feel really guilty about that, which is such a low vibration, and you don't want to stay in that. You don't want to stay down there. So it was really it was talking to other people like Bahia and a couple of other good friends of mine, and realizing I'm not the only one feeling this way.
Right.
And it doesn't make how I'm feeling go away, but it sort of added a bit of lightness to the heavy.
It was the connection. Because even when we met for brunch on Saturday to discuss what we were going to do tonight, we both almost canceled because I was laying in bed. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to leave my house. This whole holiday season, I haven't wanted to do anything but sit on my couch and do nothing. It's almost as if I feel kind of stagnant or stuck.
Stuck is a word that was coming across my head a lot too.
Right.
I was trying to process why? What do you feel stuck from? But I also stopped trying to figure out all of the feelings.
That's right.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we least expect it, before we can ever move into something new, there has to be this period of nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be, there's cycles of growth and death and rebirth.
That's right.
And when there's a death, when there's a shift or a change in your life, and you're losing some old identities.
That's right.
And when you're birthing into something new, there's always this period in between.
That's right. There's this meditation that I listen to, and she always says at the end that life is amazing, and then it's awful again, and then it's amazing, and in between the awful and the amazing, it's ordinary and mundane.
Right.
And it's to sort of hold on and breathe through the ordinary and the mundane.
That's right.
Because that is what gets you through the amazing, and that's what gets you through the awful.
It's so beautiful,
isn't it?
You always come up with these things. She just nails it every time.
You're pretty good too,
Oh, I really like that one.
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
that really, the first time I heard that meditation, I needed to keep listening to it simply for those last 2 minutes of it when she says that. That's
so true.
I felt that so deeply.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
That is so profound. I love it when you
do that.
Here's Luna's coming in. Sweet
Hi,
Luna. But let's talk about insecurity.
Yeah,
and intuition.
Yeah, let's dive into it.
Let's get right to it.
Our goal is we're gonna be sharper at these.
What we want to do is help you guys kind of navigate through the same way that we are right now. So when we're feeling kind of stuck and heavy and unsure, how are you discerning what your insecurity is versus your intuition? So when you're kind of not feeling yourself but having to make decisions, is it coming from a place of insecurity, or are you using your intuition? So
and it's hard to sometimes differentiate between the two, as we said, especially when you're feeling sort of foggy. And I was listening to a podcast earlier today. I was telling Bahia when I first got here, and it was with Oprah and Eckhart Tolle, and they're sort of going through a new earth again, and people were calling in and asking questions. And someone called in and they were asking about, she came from a background Baptist church, and to her growing up, spirituality was very much wrapped in religion. And so that's like a conversation that we could go on about for days and days about spirituality and religion. But she was sort of saying that the religion aspect of that was no longer resonating with her or that particular church or that particular preacher. So she stopped going to church because it felt like the right thing to do for her. And on when Sunday would roll around and her husband and her children were not going to church, this voice in her head would say, you should go to church today. What is your family going to think about you not going to church today? And so she sort of wanted to know what their opinion was on what that voice was in your head. And those thoughts, those are preconditioned thought patterns. That's not truly how you on your soul level feel about that decision. That's a preconditioned should, would, could. It's meant to shame you and guilt you.
Yeah, that's rooted in ego. So today when I was thinking about this whole insecurity and intuition, that whole notion that kind of came to me is when we're in a feeling or the emotion of insecurity, we're rooted in our ego in that moment.
Exactly.
So there's this voice that's kind of coming in, and it's shooting out these very low vibrational words that are bringing about feelings of shame, guilt, fear. And when we're in that low vibration and when we're in our insecurity, we can't see the big picture because we're really narrowed in. It's almost like we have blinders on.
Yeah, and it's easy to stay down there in that low vibration.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and we keep feeding those insecurities by that little voice in our head that is not supporting us. It's not offering us compassion. But when we're in our intuition, what we're actually doing is kind of stepping out, and it's almost like we're giving ourselves the bird's eye view of the whole situation, and we almost get to this place of witnessing. So we're witnessing the situation before us, and then our choice comes from a place in here.
That's right. And you feel it. You know, you can feel when it is when it's an insecurity versus when it's an intuition. An intuition, I don't know about you, but I feel that much differently than I feel an insecurity.
It's a direct, I have to be there, I have to do that.
Yeah.
And there's no question about it. It comes from this place of love, like purity.
Yeah. For me, intuition is, I always sort of explained it as, because I didn't really have the language around it, was that it was just sort of a deep-seated knowing.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and it
I
comes
knew
like
it
right
to
from
be true. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you could feel that. Where exactly our insecurity, it's ego. It's all coming from ego. Yeah. And so, you know,
I have been feeling insecure though lately. I have had insecurities.
Everybody has insecurities.
Yeah, I feel like there's this little voice that kind of comes in every now and again to trick me. Yeah,
just to see if you're really paying attention,
or just to knock me off my game.
Right.
You know, because what I feel like is happening is there's this soul memory, these preconditioned belief patterns inside of us that we've experienced as children, you know, either on the playground with friends when we've tried to express ourselves in, you know, a very bright and wonderful way, and someone just kind of came and
shoots
it down in any moment, on the playground, at home, in relationships, especially in relationships with me lately. There is this insecurity that's kind of come up.
Me too. And I find that it's been, when I've been sort of sitting with it and thinking on it, for me, it's sort of based around, I sometimes have a fear of letting myself feel joy.
And there it is. There's our lead way into joy. So when we talked at brunch, we should have a hidden camera when we talk without the live.
Our best stuff is when we're not live.
Oh my God. We just need a little camera behind us to catch the gold. But this is still good.
So what camera crew wants to follow us around for like a weekend?
It's amazing. Right? But that was what our lead into the joy was, because we were both expressing, or I was expressing too, that there are some relationships in my life right now that are reflecting to me my own insecurities. They're making me feel very uncomfortable, and I'm not able to fully connect into my intuition.
Right.
Because that ego, that little voice inside of me, is tricking me.
That's right. And drumming up these insecurities.
Yes.
I'm feeling the same way. I mean, we connected about this on the weekend. It's, you know, very much, there's so much to be joyful about in my life. And it's not that I'm unhappy. That's not what I mean. But it's just feeling that joy, it's the fear that comes with it, because so often in my life, and I know many of you can relate, I felt that joy and then something happened and it was taken away from me. And so I sort of associate that, well, the moment you truly let yourself dive in there and feel it, it's going to go. So if you don't, and you just hover over the edge of it, you can hang on to it.
Yep. And what we do is, when we don't allow ourselves to fully feel the joy, we kind of create this form of insecurity and suffering.
Absolutely.
So we're holding ourselves back
with it.
Yeah. And so we stay in kind of that dense energy, that heaviness, and then we're just there.
Yeah.
And stuck and feeling, you know, like, what do I do? Where do I go now?
Yeah. And then you wonder, is there a message in here? Is it this? Is it that? But really, it's just an insecurity. It's just an insecurity that you need to deal with.
And how do we get through those insecurities, Sarah?
It's a really good question, Leah.
Well, that's what I'm doing. And I find for me, working through my insecurities is actually speaking with,
sharing them,
the people that are creating those insecurities, because they're not creating the insecurities. It's a
It's
reflection.
your own insecurity.
Yeah.
That's right. But you sort of associate it with them and the
then
relationship you have with them.
And then we project it and say that that person's creating this in my life.
That's right.
But really they're not.
No, they're not.
They're reflecting to me my own personal insecurity.
Yeah.
And so how I've been working through them is actually having truthful, honest, and open conversations. As uncomfortable as they are, I'm learning that as I express my truth, because last year the big theme for me was walking my truth. Very huge, massive changes. And we're actually going to be having some interviews on those big changes in the coming episodes of Love Spoken here.
We've got some great stuff in store for 2019.
Yeah. Now I lost my train of thought, but I was talking about...
You're having open, truthful, honest conversations.
Yes. So in those conversations, what I'm doing is actually healing my insecurities. So once I'm able to express that emotion that I'm feeling, I then get to hear the other person's perspective.
That's right. Which is likely in no way the way you pictured it.
No, it's completely different. Like, they are not even thinking along those lines because that's not their insecurity. Their perception is completely different, their perspective. So when I hear where they're coming from, I'm then able to look at my own insecurity and go, well, where is that coming from? Where is that insecurity coming from?
Because it's mine.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you know where it brought me back? To my childhood. It brought me back to this place in my childhood where all of us, all we want is to feel loved and nurtured.
That's right.
And accepted.
And heard.
Validated, seen. And how many of us received that?
Right? Not many of us.
So what happens is as we go along through life, we start to create these belief systems inside of us that we're not worthy, we're not deserving, we're not good enough. And those insecurities build and build, and then they reflect out in different relationships. But now I'm in a place where I want to fully express my joy.
So you speak your truth.
Speaking my truth and allowing myself to move past the insecurities and trusting my intuition. So knowing that when something is coming into my life, I can feel and know and just have this deep-rooted sense that it's always for my highest good. And that I'm always going to act in accordance to my highest vibration, which is love.
Yes, love is the ultimate, right?
Which is why we have this whole premise of Love Spoken here.
And
it's shifting the way we see something from a place that's rooted in insecurity and shifting it up and seeing it through the eyes of love. Because when we see it through the eyes of love, right?
Yeah.
Because once I can move past my insecurity, and then as I'm having, very difficult and uncomfortable conversations with certain people that are, that are bringing out these insecurities inside of me, there's more love that's being generated inside of me. There's healing. There's this more acceptance is coming in.
Because how many times is our insecurity really rooted in miscommunication?
Totally.
Or no communication?
Right. Or a belief that isn't even true.
That's right. It's a whole thing that you've created, a scenario that you've created in your mind.
Yes.
That ego has helped you feed and create.
Yep.
And that's not the case at all. And so many things in our life, I mean, be it joy, be it whatever, so many things or something small can be fixed or cleared up by a simple conversation.
Yes.
By being open and honest and truthful.
And I know that that's not easy. And I know a lot of us struggle. But I promise you, as you allow yourself to find that courage within, and even if you can't have the conversation with the person face to face in the beginning, perhaps you could write them a letter. So at least you're expressing it.
That's right. You get it out.
Right.
And it still feels like somewhat of a release.
That's right.
And it would probably still offer you an opportunity to see it from another perspective because you're really thinking about it, right?
And that's kind of what happens. So when we actually allow ourselves that opportunity to go just a little bit deeper and we move beyond the ego of the insecurity and we rise up and out to see the greater perspective, we start to connect into our intuition. And then our intuition will begin to guide us along the path. And then we'll be able to shift and see it from the other person's perspective from a completely different way.
A completely different way. Probably a way that you didn't even consider before.
That's right.
That's usually how that works.
And I know you helped me work through a lot of it because what was happening is when I was sharing my yucky stuff with Sarah, I was getting a lot of Me Too's.
Yeah, and when we left brunch, I felt so much lighter. I think that was and so connected with someone else that was feeling the feels that I was.
Yes, and we kind of delved into that insecurity together.
That's right.
And we, through the eyes of love, wove light between it, and we started to heal them. And then we started to realize that we really have no reason to be insecure.
Right? And I think it really helps to share these things because we can offer one another, and we can offer one another a perspective that sometimes you can't see it sometimes when you're so deep in that insecurity. So sharing, you offered me so many different perspectives on how to think about things on the weekend, and it was just an eye-opener.
But you did the same for me. So when I was explaining how I was perceiving and seeing something, and then you sharing your own story really helped to kind of create this, a deeper understanding. And then it's like, wow, I don't have to hold on to this anymore. I can let it go.
Yeah.
And then when we let that insecurity go,
it feels good.
Right? And then it frees us up to invite more joy into our lives.
And embrace it, and don't be scared of it. I'm working on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of why we've created Love Spoken here.
Exactly.
And this is why I do what I do, is to help people realize that we're living a very limited existence.
That's right.
And that together as a community, we can rise above, and
we can help to heal each other and ourselves. And it is as simple as talking and sharing and comparing stories. And I can't tell you how many people over the course of the weekend that I had open, honest conversations with, and they were like, me too.
Yes.
Me too. I'm feeling that way too. So we knew for sure, it was very clear on Saturday when we met.
Yep.
We cannot be the only ones feeling this way right now.
No. And so we just wanted to connect tonight to say we're back. And we have lots of amazing themes and topics coming up. And we really do want to interview people. We want to create, we're going to have a new background. It's going to get a little fancy.
Yes.
We're going to go a little high tech.
We got new shit in the works.
Yeah. And we're going to shift from video and give the option of video, but also podcast audio. If we can figure out the techie stuff, which we will.
We will.
Because that's what we do.
We will.
We will figure it out.
That's right. Okay. We'll figure it out.
But we have big things for this year. Our intentions are for Love Spoken here to be a globally recognized video podcast.
That's right.
We want to curate a book of all of the different video series that we do at the end of the year, so that we can have a book of wisdom for people to hold on to tap into at any time.
Yep.
And we also want to do a Love Spoken here live at some point.
Yeah, we do. And we hope you show up for that.
Yeah. And we want to invite lots of other women to come on to share their stories, where we can and men.
Yes.
Anybody who has a story that they feel can help another person heal.
Yeah.
You know, I've shared a lot of my life with the public eye. I live a very transparent life. And I do that because I want us all to realize that we're not alone. And that when we can share our stories, we can help so many other people connect into themselves.
That's right. And you can empower another woman to share her own story.
That's right.
And that's life-changing for
Absolutely.
people. Yeah.
And it just brings more joy. Like, how joyful do you feel when you see our faces? Like,
that's pretty cute. Like, come on, guys.
Like, how could you not? Look at all the hearts.
Look how joyful we are. We're tired.
Right?
We're heavy.
I mean, even in the heaviness, even in all of the crying I've been doing,
still laughter.
And all of the sadness, that's a part of life.
Yeah.
That is the cycle. Life isn't meant to be rosy-colored Disneyland all the time. No. It's real.
Exactly. And this is why we've created this. And if you watch us and you listen to us and we resonate with you, and you think, I've got a couple of friends that would really be into what these gals are talking about, we'd love it if you'd share, pass on the message, spread the word about
Absolutely.
Love Spoken here, because we just want to talk to y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to keep them shorter so you stay connected.
That's right.
Yeah.
Should we see what our cards were?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're each going to read one. So tonight's cards that came up for our insecurity versus intuition is
Leap of Faith.
and perfect setting. So we're going to read these messages to end off our night.
Yeah, we are.
So I will start with perfect setting. Here we go.
Do you want me to hold it?
Oh, yeah. And make sure both there and there. So I'll have to just do that. You see?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. If you have a goal or vision, be sure to provide the right surroundings for that dream to flourish. Positive self-talk, affirmations, being kind to yourself, celebrating your talents and successes, all of these create fertile soil for your dreams to take root and grow.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you push too hard, it can hinder the harmonious unfolding of your journey. Trust the process, relax, and allow nature to take its course. Belief and positive support is needed to accomplish your goal. Keep in mind, nature makes growing and blossoming look effortless, but the secret is all in the details: position, sun, soil, air, water, and nourishment. Make sure you are taking the steps necessary to attain your perfect environment.
Damn.
Like, you can't make this shit up.
Right?
Honest to God.
And the post that I posted on our page, the cards that I pulled for 2019,
right.
Joy and burden.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Working through the contrast.
That's right. And the burden isn't even necessarily your own. It's that we take on other people's problems and issues.
That's
and we
right.
have to let that go to help us find more joy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I digressed.
No, that's okay. But so with this card, just taking that opportunity to find your perfect setting. Whatever you need right now, just honor that. Whether it's more rest, more exercise, less alcohol, disconnecting from friends for a little bit, or people that are very emotionally draining. Whatever it is that you need right now, give that to yourself to create the perfect setting to allow for whatever is clearing and getting ready to bloom in the spring.
That's
Just
right.
give it that opportunity.
So if you've been craving like the couch and a blanket and Netflix, don't
Do
feel
it.
guilty about that.
Do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leap of faith. Perfect. See this as a chance to create something wonderful. You are in a transition period where you need to draw on your faith, intuition, and knowledge to take the leap. You will not fail. You have a safety net of support in place. You will overcome your fear and find a beautiful outcome is on the horizon. This leap of faith is best course of action at this time. If you do make a mistake, you have the ability to try again and learn from what did not work the first time. All signs indicate that if you just trust, you will succeed. Jump headfirst into the void of the unknown. Even if you eventually fall, for a while, you'll soar.
You can't make it up.
Bam!
That's
It's always in the cards.
That's the show. Yeah, that's how we summarize. Like, everything that we just discussed came out of these cards.
I think we're on track here.
We're totally on track. So if you're feeling stuck, feeling heavy, feeling dense, there's all of this uncertainty and confusion, it's okay. We're all in it together.
You are not alone.
You're not. I'm seeing all them hearts
right?
flying.
We're see a lot of people feeling that.
With you. We are so here with you. We're in it. But even though we wanted to not show up tonight, we did.
We did. And I feel good about it.
Totally.
Always.
So I'm inviting more joy into my life as I still honor the pain and the healing and the releasing. Because for those of us who know, how can we truly appreciate love and joy if we haven't had the contrast of pain and suffering?
That's right. And just trust the process and
totally
and trust what your body is trying to tell you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're always here for you. We love hearing from you. You always know that I love you.
That's right.
So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
And again, if you want to be on Love Spoken here, to be interviewed by us two amazing women, send us a message, or we're going to start hounding you. It's one of the two. Really.
It's your option. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for watching.